Amazing transformations. Hopefully you guys got the message, and I don't let me I'll reshare the link while we're talking too, because we actually were so excited to get on here. We're here half hour early instead of rescheduling for later. So I wanted to definitely welcome my guest here. As you guys can see from the live stream, he has had an amazing transformation himself. This is I think your name that you go by on YouTube is Raw Fruitarian Fahad. Did I say that right?
Correct.
And I am so excited. I also see sometimes you call yourself the fruit eating man, which I love. Thank you so much. I love your shirt too, by the way.
Thank you.
And Fahad is on a mission to share his journey with the way that he has changed spiritually, and to give us, all of the benefits that can come along with putting the right thing, at least what we believe is the thing that gives us the most life. And I love his videos. He's on YouTube. He does really inspiring interviews like on shows like this, but also has people on his channel, and he does awesome videos that are really informative. I love that you like speak from the heart, and you truly seem like you're talking to us on your videos, and not only just giving us like facts, but you're giving your own experience, which I think is really cool. So welcome. We are all excited. Everyone on my Veganowledge group was commenting they were excited too. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I am very delighted and to have this conversation with you and talk more about fruit, talk more about conscious living. Because when we talk about conscious living, I truly believe that plant-based and majority of fruit just makes it to the list. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And I don't you just love his energy? I could just tell his energy when I was watching his videos. Um, so how did like you have you been vegan since you were born? I guess I like to ask the guests first, like how did you actually get started in did you grow up in like traditional regular diet like a lot of us did, or were you introduced to veganism early on? When did this begin for you?
Right. Yeah, so I grew up here in Saudi Arabia, and we are notorious with our meat consumption, I would say. So, growing up, I had a lot of meat, a lot of processed food. Um, if I believe you're essentially tuning in from North America, right?
From yep, United States, Maryland.
Yeah, yeah,
So
from the US, and I've been to the US a few times as well, and I can tell you this: um, when it comes to our food culture, we are very similar. we,
really. I
we
wouldn't even have guessed that, but I could imagine most cultures seem to base it around a lot of meat.
yeah, yeah, and so we have a lot of fast food chains. We have a lot of these places where you could just go and just have something that's gonna not serve you, I would say, but people know that deep inside, but they still go for it. But essentially, yeah, that's how I grew up, eating a lot of meat, eating a lot of processed junk food, and also coming from an Indian background, we add a lot of things to our food that essentially take out all the natural elements, really, for the most part. And what we are left with is just a concentration or concentrated remains of the food that is very far from its natural state. And so when you go away from your natural state, I fully believe that you start to look unnatural, you start to behave unnatural. And so yeah, that happens. But yeah, I grew up here, and most of my teenage, I spent being an overweight kid. I didn't really like the way I looked, so um, no, definitely did not. I wish I did, but there are no things that I would like to change. But um, I did not grow up in a vegan or like a vegetarian, I would say, kind of household. We predominantly loved our meat all the time, like all three meals. Just to give you guys a perspective, sometimes I could even have like rice and just meat, like fried meat for breakfast. Like that's what our breakfast looks like, right?
Hmm.
So Yeah, but conscious way of approaching food definitely started from like 4 years, like from the past 4 years. I would say 4 years ago is when I was like, okay, we need to do something about food, because I was really, putting a lot of work into the gym and like really working out, but I wasn't really seeing any results, right? Like really, I was still being heavy and yeah, sure, putting on muscle, but still feeling very heavy, not feeling like light and active.
Hmm.
So 4 years ago is when I was like, okay, let's make some changes, and that's when I started to incorporate more vegetables. And majority of it was vegetables. There was still meat in there, but deep in me, I just knew that there will be a point in time where I will eliminate meat entirely. But I
Hmm.
did not want to make that change like that right away.
Right.
Right, so that was a conscious way of me approaching with my with what I know about myself. So yeah, 4 years ago is when it started, and then I was mostly having like vegan type of food for the last 1.5 years, or even 2 years, I would say. um, and then I was in Colombia just 6 to 7 months ago is when I got this really powerful inner voice while I was in deep in the jungles of Colombia in a forest,
Cool.
just sitting under a tree. And this is the country Colombia, and sitting under the tree. And I felt so in touch with nature. I was so in tune, and that's when it just came to me like this intuition, this word of God that was just channeled into me, saying that fruit, raw eating is the truth. And believe it or not, before this, my friend, I had no clue that raw vegan or fruitarian kind of thing even exists. Like I had no idea about these concepts, right? So it just came to me, and then I started, adopting that, implementing it. And just after 2 3 days, when I started doing it, again, while this was deep in the jungles of Colombia, that's when I started researching. I was like, huh, there should be more people doing this. I definitely should. Maybe I'm the first person doing this, like my egoistic
Right.
self.
Me too. I thought the same thing. And then I was like, wow, where have I been all this time? Like, how did all this information, like similar to you, it was just 5 years ago. We were trying to, Dawn, who I mentioned might pop on, we were looking to grow microgreens. Like, we were going to like start this business where we had gotten into like, growing, sprouts and things like that. And it didn't end up panning out. But this video I came across called like Raw, that's all it was called, because it was going to talk about, we thought that, but it wasn't even about that. It was about people healing from raw food. And I
Mm,
literally went, something clicked where I was like, wow, okay, maybe there's something to this. It's starting to make sense. Like, raw food is probably what we would have ate had we not had, pots and pans and tools. And it
yeah,
makes sense because it's like living. And I was like, that night, from like eating meat, like steaks and everything that I used to eat, fries and fast food and all kinds of burgers and things, I went and I started this raw diet. And I was going to try it for 3 days. And then it ended up, oh, I think I can go a week. And then, like, after I just kept going, in like 30 days, I was feeling no more back pain. I was feeling energy. And it was just like, okay, I'm done, this is where I'm supposed to be. And it was just out of the blue. Like, it wasn't, and I didn't even know it existed, like you. That's so strange how something can come to you like that.
yeah.
And so you had this deep experience, and that's when you discovered there was other people that were of that same mindset.
Yeah, yeah. Like, thank you for sharing that, by the way. And like, my egoistic self in that moment was like, I was like, am I the first person who invented something like this? Like,
Right.
but then, soon after, I searched, and then I got to know there's a whole community of people doing it, and they love themselves, they love their lifestyle, they love their life, doing it. um, Although I do believe that you should be able to honor and express your love towards yourself with or without this diet, but I would say that it makes it a lot easier to love yourself to show compassion to yourself, because only by showing compassion to yourself is when you could be able to show compassion for others, right? I'm
Mhm.
sure there have been days where we feel super happy, very happy, and those days, Jen, like, we want to treat everybody in a very nice way because we
Yeah.
are internally happy. So what our whole human experience is such that what is happening inside is projected on the outside. So
Mhm.
yeah, essentially it makes it a lot easier to show compassion and to love yourself on this diet, because you truly are feeding the natural stuff. And then you discover what natural living is and what the powers of your natural body. And then you keep on loving yourself, again and again. So that's amazing.
I love it. Welcome, J&J Video Reacts, Dawn. She came in and said that smash the like button. Thank you for that. Yes, like and share this video for the awesome info, and that this is great info. So thank you for that. And then I wanted to say, so when we start talking about like the natural diet and why it makes us feel good, like what do you feel like is being like, what are we doing that is making that internal change? Is it taking out the meat? Because I like heard one of your videos of how like sometimes what their fear had went through the animal could be like everything is part of us that we eat. And so like putting the fruit in us, not only like I know we could get into like the health benefits of it, like how it's great for digestion, but what about that do you feel like actually makes us feel so good internally? Because you're not the only person that I've heard say that. I've felt that, it's just like really this sense of like gratitude that's like hard to explain until you fully immerse yourself in it.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So there are many ways to seeing this, I would say. One is I personally, I love talking from a spiritual standpoint, so people are able to understand it in a more energetic way. Because that's essentially my approach, is to pay so much attention to this technology, this piece of technology that was given to me, that everybody of us have. Pay so much attention, observe it in such a way that it truly tells you what is right and what is wrong. And so I have observed, and I'm sure people can also pay attention and get to know that, if you take a mango, the thing about, so we can agree that this is nothing but a software. Like, outside, what we can see is hardware, but inside is a certain piece of software inside. And so does a mango. A mango has a certain software as well. If we want to understand, truly pay attention and see what this is made of and how this is designed, we can clearly understand that something like mango integrates very easily with this body, right? The human body. It is so effortless. Like, even after just have one, like this much of a mango, as opposed to something that is not a mango, and you will see that mango is so much more smoother right from the ingestion standpoint, from the starting of ingestion and then digestion and then accumulation to excretion. The entire process of a mango is so simple and easy for this body. However, if you were to take the same amount in meat and you were to consume that, you can see that your body does not easily integrate yourself with that, because essentially food is nothing but a process of integration. I fully see it that way, right? All we have done throughout our years, the way we have come to accumulate this body, is by accumulating all the food, right?
Mhm.
All the food has made this body. It makes our hair grow, nails grow, fingers, brain, everything. Um, so this process of integration is done very simply by a mango or a watermelon, as opposed to a slice of meat, or slices of meat. So, and what I feel like happens here is that anything which has emotions, like really strong emotions, is very difficult for this body to essentially process it. So meat has emotions, right? Okay, sure, the meat that you might be seeing in front of you is already dead, but it came from something that truly had a lot of emotions.
Mhm.
Um, and so, even from a karmic standpoint and from yogic standpoint, the yoga ancient histories and occult wisdoms, it is clearly stated that anything that had emotions is very difficult for this body to essentially integrate and become part of. So, from all of these standpoints, it makes so much more easier. If nobody wants to go that much deeper, just pay attention. Just pay attention to having a mango before and after, and having meat before and after.
Mhm.
Um, and so I would also I would also argue that when you have fruit salad, it
Mhm.
is it makes you it makes slightly difficult for your body to absorb, as opposed to just a monomeal of just
Mhm.
mangoes,
Mhm.
right? So that much keen attention, if paid, you can clearly observe how this body functions and reacts. And obviously, if you own a piece of machinery besides this machinery, you will see that the smoother and the smoother the oil is for that machinery, the more efficient that machine is. It's the exact same logic for this one as well, right? The
Yeah, we
smoother.
tend to use that for our things that we have or other things, but we don't use it for our own, or sometimes we may know it, but it's very difficult, I think, for a lot of people to change how they've always done things, even if it means it would make it smoother. Because I like what you said about that. Like, isn't that the goal, to make things easy, for ourselves instead of more difficult? So, like, our body, like a lot of the things we deal with, to your point, over time that we don't realize are just our body trying to tell us in some way, like, that's hard for me, if you're dealing with, not to talk about bathroom things, but if someone's dealing with constipation, it usually doesn't mean you need a medication. You could go that route, but literally, it's probably what you're putting in to your body that is having an issue coming out. And that's the
Yeah.
ease of, that's what our system, like you said, was meant to do. I never really thought about it that way. It's, you're meant to put something in, it's absorbing all the nutrients that we need, like you said, to grow our hair, skin, nails, and function, and then it's eliminated what it doesn't need. So, like, the easier that process is, and the mono meals, that is so true. Like, once you then delve into fruit, you realize that eating a bunch of fruit at the same time even can affect you differently,
Yeah.
and one thing at a time. Like, when you start looking at it like making it easy for your body, that might make it easier on your mind to change your diet. I love that philosophy.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I essentially want to run this machine that was given to me in the most smoothest, in the most efficient manner as possible, with least resistance and least friction, because that entails the quality of my life, right? The quality of life is directly linked to how efficient this body runs. And when I say quality of a life, it's not just the external, tangible variables, but it's also the things that you cannot see. Some people argue, oh, but I see this person making a lot of money, this and that. Sure, I don't know what their life looks like, but I also know that I've lived in Dubai, and I've seen a lot of people driving their Mercedes like this, like so sad, like as if the world is coming to an end, but in a Mercedes.
Right.
So, that's not an efficient way of living. That's not a high quality of life. So, sure, many variables are involved, but essentially, my interest, and so should everybody's interest, should be to reach the highest quality of life. And I think now we can all come to a conclusion. It's not by acquiring something out there. It's by finding it within you.
It makes a lot of sense, because, like, you hear that a lot with, like, celebrities, where you're shocked when you, like, hear these inside stories that they were, depressed or unhappy. And it's like, but they have all that money, you know what I mean? And like I'm walking around with no money, smiling like, oh, I got fruit. I have enough to buy fruit this week, right? So it definitely can be like deceiving, like outside things. Can you tell us just like a couple of things that you experienced just when you actually switched from that to like more of the mono meals and the fruits, and what internally did you feel differently?
Yeah,
And like
sure.
how long did it take to start feeling that?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, just 4 years ago, while I was making my dietary changes to more of a plant-based diet, majority plant-based, 80 to 90% plant-based, and a lot of fruit as well. I was already a very athletic person, right? And when I decided, or when I got this, this voice while I was in Colombia to turn into fruit, I was already way very athletic for compared to an average person. So in many ways, it was not the need of the hour to go into a fruit diet, because I understand that a lot of people might get into this for healing symptoms, healing, they want to heal themselves, whatnot. But I didn't really have anything to heal. One thing, however, that really bothered me, Jen, is that I had a lot of things on my forehead, like pimples,
Hmm.
right? And as you can see, there are none right now. Not a
Yes,
single,
very
not a
clear.
single one. Yeah, thank you. Not a single one lives on my forehead anymore, and I'm very happy with that. And I would say, even with a plant-based diet, but cooked, mostly plant-based but cooked, I still had those things on my forehead,
Hmm.
and my sleep was suffering intensely. So so that is one. The pimples on my forehead completely cleared out, and many other parts of my body also are, because I had a few other, I would say, I don't know how to call them actually. They are like these small things that come out of your skin, like a
Hmm.
pus kind of thing, and if you
Hmm.
just pluck it, there's a lot of like pus that comes out. In that moment when that happened, I was like, I don't know what that is. But when I truly paid attention to it, I clearly understood it's just my body's way of pushing out the toxins out of my body, right? Skin also plays a big part. It's a big organ that plays a part in filtering you. um, so so yeah, that's that. And my sleep has been fabulous, fantastic, really. Wow.
Nice.
I sleep like a baby, like a baby, quite literally. And I have I just go to bed a lot earlier. I truly have started to enjoy morning time, because I just feel like there's a lot of energy and a lot of vibrations in the morning.
Hmm.
um, and so it can truly wake you up and put you light years ahead. Because I don't know if you've observed, Jen, but if you pay keen attention to a group of individuals that wake up before sunrise or just around the sunrise time, right, and go to bed early, those individuals, and then the individuals that stay up late in the night,
Hmm.
right, there's a difference in them. Have you
Hmm.
observed that? The
Yeah.
quality of the personality and the quality of person, there's a major difference. And when I paid attention to that, I was like, I do not want to be a night owl, nor am I. Switch off all the lights, I'm not nocturnal at all. I don't have eyes of a lion.
Right.
So it clearly is a sign that we have made artificial lights, sure, to sustain our lives even in the night. But if you truly look at it, we are not meant to darkness is unknown to us, right?
Hmm.
So we are not meant to be in darkness or times when it's dark. So making that conscious decision has truly also helped increase the quality of my life. So I sleep a lot better after being on this diet. And athletic wise, I run a lot. I play a sport called ultimate frisbee. For people who don't
I've
know
heard
that,
of this. I've never played it. I've only played like the, tossing the frisbee on the beach, but that's cool. I'm
thank
sure
you.
it's way different than that.
Yeah, it's a lot different. For people who don't know that game, I would describe it as a game that looks very much similar to football, but instead of a football, there's a frisbee. So it's
Cool.
not a leg game, but it's like a hand game. So I play a lot of that, and I can clearly see a massive difference, a big jump in my performance. So I'm very happy with that. And um, and and looking at that, a lot of my team members, other players, are also slowly but surely eating more fruits,
Nice.
because they are witness firsthand as to the jump in my performance. And I told them it's the fruit diet, guys.
That
So
is so neat. And that's why I love having, different people on this channel too. And thank you again for coming on because, you're someone athletic or, this isn't just for, a certain kind of person to enhance, someone like, oh, you know what, it did this for me, or I wanted to improve my skin. If someone's thinking, oh, I'm trying to be more athletic or I'm trying to improve my performance, it can even help that. So it just shows you on all different realms how like it can improve us. And there was one thing you said that stood out too. Like I found that when I like discovered if we look at like how we're built and like what we are set up as in comparison to other animals, what you said about, yeah, we're not really supposed to be up at night. Like you never think about that because we live in kind of a world where we have processed foods that we've created with chemicals and we've got lights that we put on. But if you really strip all of that away and think about what our what we're attracted to eat, that's what really sold me on the fruit too, because I'm like, yeah, I don't really look at something and want to eat it when it doesn't look appetizing, like I don't look at an animal and want to bite into it. I look at, blueberries and that's what, grapes, and that's like, oh, let me get one of those. So it makes a lot of sense. It sounds like you've gotten like really in touch with your real cravings and what really, makes you function as a human that we've kind of ignored over our time, like you said, with the programming we've received, because that's all we knew.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so I know the skin, you talked about the athletic performance, the did you end up also the sleep, which is interesting because I've found that to be similar. Do you think it's because our body has to work really hard to digest food? Is that why they say to not eat, or to eat earlier? So some people even think that that helps them sleep. So imagine having something easy on digestion also,
yeah,
and incorporating that. That's great that you sleep well because that's a tough thing. I know when I struggle with sleep, I'm not talking about being good like for others, and you can't, like you said, be your full happy self when you're not feeling good inside. So that's great. And yeah, definitely, I think a lot of people look younger. It almost seems like their skin kind of brightens on this type of diet too.
yeah, yeah. No, absolutely, yeah. And I would like to add this: if your sleep is not right, if you struggle with sleep, you're gonna probably struggle with many other aspects in your life. Hands
Mhm.
down, there is no question about it. There is no negotiation here, right? Sure, in the meantime, if you're young and this and that, you don't spend too much, sure, for a limited time, a
Mhm.
few months in a year, once in a while, sure, if you sacrifice your sleep, or if you're sleeping less, you could still perform that way. But in a long run, I am still yet to see somebody who can sleep very little and still have all aspects of their life, or majority aspects of their life, truly figured out. So it makes it a lot difficult. And we have, even science says it now, at least from this standpoint, that if you sleep half, you're like half drunk. If you sleep like 3 4 hours, you're truly operating like a half drunken person throughout the
Mhm.
day.
That's how
So
I feel when I don't sleep well. Luckily, I
me
slept
too.
well last night.
Yeah, me too. There is no question about it. Like when I sleep less, that day is I can clearly see it in me. I'm not that efficient anymore. So yeah, absolutely. But also, I would like to add, talking about the artificial way of living that we have projected or built for ourselves with artificial lights and everything. One thing that I've clearly seen, also traveling around the world quite a bit, is that the most affluent societies right now are struggling the most when it comes to their mental health,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, I don't want to pinpoint any sort of regions or countries on the planet and this and that, but there are many affluent countries, like I said, who are struggling with this. And one thing that is very common in affluent societies these days, or urban cities, is that the life is completely upside down to what people have practiced for years and years, and still do in remote places on the planet. And I have been to the most remote of the remote places in a few countries, and I've also been to the most prettiest, brightest, affluent places on the planet. I can clearly see there is a big, big, big difference in the internal quality of life
Mm-hmm.
of individuals, right? Externally, we might see it differently because we value things differently. But if you really strip it down, you could see the levels of unhappy and happiness. And I fully believe that feeling anxious, feeling depressed, having any anger, stress, worry is artificial. It is not known to a natural human being. A
Mm-hmm.
golden child of God was not built to carry worry and stress and anger.
So
That's
true.
not what a golden child of God does,
Mm-hmm.
right? The perfect creation of God would sure have it in them, but not suffer throughout their life with it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that can only happen when your lifestyle is completely flipped out.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very prevalent in affluent societies right now, where people are sleeping late, late in the night. Their eating habits are all over the place. They work half of the day and look forward to a weekend, and working for 5 days and don't like what they do, and this is how they go through about their life. That's really adding a toll. And in the end, we are doing all of this on also by sacrificing many habitats and species on the planet, and yet we are not happy. Like the fact that we have all these things that we have right now around us. This chair came here because of this table, it came here because of putting some species or some animals habitat under risk.
Mm-hmm.
We have done all of this as a society and we are still not happy. So what's happening?
Right. We have all of these things that we think are tools, and now we just have therapists that are helping us reduce our anxieties. That, like, where is it really internally? We're not in touch. Like you said, we're not treating ourselves well all the way around, both mentally, physically, what we're eating, and we just keep trying to put more stuff in to like compensate it. I think you're exactly right. That's really interesting. You're right, because who do you talk to that says, you say, how's your day going? There's very few people that say it's going great. Like, I'm really happy today, I'm feeling good, like you said
Yeah.
that. But like on the normal, if you just see someone in public somewhere, you don't hear that a lot. Like, oh, I'm overworked, underpaid, and stressed, I'm worried, and I feel like, I deal with that internally too. Like when I got into my 40s, I dealt with like just a lot of worry started creeping up about my family, about people close to me, and just these, negative type thoughts. And I do find that when I, get on like mainly fruit or all fruit, it does kind of mentally make you feel differently. And people that have never experienced it won't understand how that can be. They may think, oh, take a pill for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like it works so much better because it's feeding you internally. It's not masking anything. It's literally making your cellular makeup like energetic and happy, so that you don't have that. You can kind of, I feel like you're more in tune with your mind and your body. um it sounds like you've kind of experienced that too. It's very
Yeah.
interesting. I love that outlook. It's so true. And you've done a lot of traveling, so this doesn't, like you said, is not just isolated to one region. You've seen this wherever basically you've gone.
Yeah, yeah. The more destruction that we have been causing, and like I said, happy people don't treat others bad, right? That is not something that we observe in ourselves, or do we observe that in others? And so, who do you think is making more destruction on the planet, Jen? People who are educated or uneducated people,
Unfortunately, sometimes a lot of educated people, I do feel, are
right?
making more destruction, and they are then presenting it to more, like, as a whole, to the uneducated people who are looking for guidance on
Yeah,
certain things. And like health info, like, you go online, you can't find the truth. I mean, unfortunately, what
yeah,
I believe to be the truth, it's so, they're trying to almost confuse us with too much information when it's just as simple as eat fruit. you know so
yeah.
yeah, that's a good point. What was your real answer, or what was the answer there?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's the educated people, civilized people, urban people calling themselves educated, in the name of education, going on destroying the planet. And like I said, happy people don't destroy.
Dawn
They're
said
like,
that's so true. She agrees with you, the educated people.
yeah, they're so we need to really start to be more conscious and to truly think that um, there are there are certain changes both in our outer dimensions, but very importantly in our inner dimensions, that we need to start paying focus to. Because one hint that I will give for people who are looking for therapists: the best therapists exist, but not in your city. That's just the truth. Probably where they exist in some sort of a very very remote village. Just go and spend time with them. If at all they can speak your language, believe me, they will heal you for a very long time, or perhaps forever. If that happens, I really hope that on you. So hope upon that, hope that upon you. So um, yeah, it's as simple as that: learning the natural ways of living, understanding. And so where my energy goes is that I'm not against all of the advancements that we have made currently, Jen, right now in this world. It's fabulous that you and me get to sit here where, whoa, you are all the way on the other side of the world, and I'm here, and still we are able to have this conversation. It's fabulous if you think about it. It's a fantastic.
And that you're able to share the word, like you said, with millions of people.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
excellent.
it's fabulous. Imagine this level of technology existed when, Jesus was there, or the Prophet Muhammad, or all these masters were there. When Buddha was talking, he just had five people listening to him at a given time. Right now, if Buddha spoke with this technology, he could have had 5 billion people listening to him. Right.
Right. I love it that way.
So that is beautiful that we have access to this, but we are forgetting our inner dimensions. And where my energy truly goes is to be able to help people to start spending time with themselves. Right.
Mhm.
I'm a big proponent of meditation, whatever way and shape or form one wants to do it. It could come in meditation, it could come in yoga. Essentially what happens, I believe, is that we need to understand, and we this is something that I came to understand as I was, transitioning or advancing in my spiritual journey, is that life becomes so much more easier if one were to understand that we are not this body, we are not this mind, we are not this emotions. This is
Mhm.
ours, this body is mine to use for now, right? But this is not me. What me is what you could call the soul. Or if I had to explain it a bit more, what is me is the very sound of the ocean waves, where that's a beautiful sound.
Oh,
Or yeah, or the wind that hits you and you go like, wow, wow. Right? Or the force of life that makes the earth rotate on its axis, or revolve around the sun, or makes the sun rotate, or you drop something and it just falls, or makes the stars shine. That force of life, the very force of life that keeps the sun rotating, is the very force of life that is living in this body. And that force of life is you, which in other words is also soul,
Mhm.
right? So if we were to understand this, what is then is that we need to understand that we can then become the soul's slave rather than our body's slave. Because right now all the compulsive behaviors that we have is to address the needs of the body, right? The reason why we think of having a pasta is because this body is craving, not that your soul is craving.
Right.
And so if one were to understand this, and then they could be like, oh, I no more want to be my body's slave, I want to become my soul's slave, then they suddenly can feel themselves transcended in higher planes of consciousness, because now you have liberated yourself from bodily desires.
Mhm.
Bodily desires are sex, hunger, like hunger and processed food, or being angry, or being depressed, or whatever it may be. These are bodily needs.
Mhm.
These are not even yours, because now you have that distance between who you are and what your body is. And so if you start to address your soul, the force of life, what does it need? And then you will understand that that is you, and then it starts to express within you, and then you truly connect with who you are. And so
Right.
I yeah, and I fully believe that a soul's slave is a soul's master at the same time. There is no difference. A
That
person who's a slave to his
I love
soul is a soul's master.
I like that. I've never ever heard it put that way. That is really cool. I just want to mention, welcome, Michelle. She is here. She said hello, and she said that meditation is what I just finished doing, and now I'm
Yeah.
here. Well, thank you for being here, and you came at exactly the right time. He was talking about meditation, and she was actually a guest here like a couple of weeks ago, and was talking about how she's really changed by meditation. And Dawn said, if Buddha had access to social media as well as Jesus, this world would have been so much different. Yes, definitely. That was, I love that analogy. I've never ever heard anyone say that. I've got so, you'll probably see 100 little, what are those called, shorts on this page with all your knowledge. I'm like, I'm going to send them all to you. I'm like, all these little morsels of wisdom you're giving us. Like, yeah, like I think people are looking for trying to control their mind in a sense. Like, I want the pasta, or people are trying to say, well, look what that does to your body, and present fear to themselves. And instead, that just made like so much sense, and probably made a difference for so many people listening, including me, for when maybe that's what's happening internally, when I can overcome those cravings. But maybe the next time one comes on, that will even help someone to say, I want to get in touch with my soul, not my outer mind, or my, like what my brain is telling me. Basically, I need to have control of that. And that really made a lot of sense, because you essentially took the negativity away from stop your cravings, end your food addictions, and you put it to trust your soul and get in touch with mastering your soul instead of mastering your mind. Because technically, if we do that, it's just so much. I'm getting too philosophical now. I just like, you just put me in a whole whirlwind there. That is so excellent.
Because I can tell you, your soul does not want a Big Mac. Right? It doesn't even make sense. Like, your soul doesn't
Or
care about
an
a Big Mac.
impossible whopper, as we would have been addicted to in the I
Yeah,
don't know if
it's
you
the
have Burger
parasite.
King.
Yeah, it's the parasites, it's the worms that are addicted to that taste, that live in your gut, that are craving in the meantime. And so if you don't create that distance, and this comes by yoga, this comes by meditation, and they can also be termed as liberation, because when you practice this, you liberate yourself, the soul, from the body's desire. And so body's desires are these cravings by the parasites and the worms that live in the gut of this body, not in the soul, right? And you fully start to yeah, be fully conscious as to what you need, so that your soul starts to express in its true form, for you to start speaking your truth.
I love that. And like, not only does it, like, if we, how do you find we can get rid of those parasites? Like, if we go like start eating fruit based diet, like, does it, I don't know, like, is there a certain amount of time? Like, I've heard people say cleansing parasites. Sorry, Neo is now making
No
another mess. I had to delay the live stream because Neo knocked a bunch of stuff over. That's hitting Neo. That's not someone that lives here, thankfully. I'd be like, what are you eating?
Yeah,
Um,
I'm a big animal lover. Do you want to show Leo? You said, right? Neo.
it's actually Neo, like the chosen
Neo.
one from the
I would love
Matrix.
to see Neo.
Let's see. Neo,
Is that
Neo,
possible?
come here. Come here. Can you come here? All right, hold on. I'll go get him.
Thank you.
Let's say, come on. You want to say hi? Come on. Let's go. Look, let's go say hi. Let's see. Whoops, there you are. Are you on camera? I'm probably going about to get scratched.
Oh, there you go.
Hi, you want to stand up here and say hi to everybody? Hello.
Hello, Neo.
Can you wave? Just say hi. It's like, give me
Oh,
treats.
he's adorable.
Yes, he's I forget now. My sister brought him from 2 hours away. He needed a home, and we were like, oh, we have another cat, but she's probably hiding.
Yeah,
Menu is her name. But they are starting to get along a little better. They were a little territorial at first. You
yeah.
want to stay on with us? Do you hear all this lovely conversation? I
Great.
did want to ask you too. Just, I know you have something that you have to do a little bit later, so I wanted to just ask. Can you take us through like what you actually eat for people watching that are like, yeah, I want to do this, and so like, what do you eat in a day? Because everyone thinks, oh, you're gonna melt away to nothing. Especially someone like you who says I'm athletic and I've got lots of energy. People think, well, oh, if I just ate fruit, or I could never do that because I'd probably, not, I would be too tired. So if you could tell us, like, what's a typical day for a person of, your age and size and everything? What does it look like? Not that everyone's the same. I will say that, I know, but
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. So my diet has become a lot simpler, right? And I fully believe in the power of simplicity. It can truly do magic to you, for sure. So when I wake up in the morning, which happens around 6 to 7, between 6 to 7 a.m., I wake up, I do my morning thing, just sit to meditate, write my goals, whatnot, and I do some deep work for the next 2 3 hours with practically just water, because I
mhm.
absolutely love the feeling of feeling light in the morning. After the sleep, like you're truly fasting, your body is in a state of fast, so that feeling is miraculous, and my thinking abilities are, wow, fabulous, right? Fantastic, miraculous. So um, that happens, and then around 10, I would say 10:30 is when I would have a cantaloupe. Today I had like just 2 3 oranges, so just oranges,
I
and I
love those.
love oranges, and these are such beautiful, delicious oranges. I truly look forward. Some people always, like, sometimes they ask me, do you, so the thing why we like cook food or eating outside is because if, let's say, we know we are going to eat outside tonight, already from evening or late afternoon, I'm looking forward to it. And
Mhm.
I answer to them, do you know how much I look forward to my oranges? You have no idea.
Right.
I'm probably looking forward, as I speak to you right now, I'm looking forward to the oranges that I'm going to have right after this, right? So I really look forward to my oranges, cantaloupes. These are like really one of my favorite. The cantaloupes that I have right now over here are organically grown just 50 kilometers from here. So you could go pay a visit to these farms, pick
Oh,
cantaloupes
nice.
from them from there. And we have so much heat here in Saudi Arabia. So these guys are using it correctly, the farmers here. So Yeah, essentially it's oranges or cantaloupes in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I'm usually not hungry, but we do cherish having lunch together as a family because I live with my family, and so we come together and we have. I have something as simple as a mango, and my parents now have also adopted. My dad especially has been eating fruit all day, and he's
Wow,
pretty much a vegetarian as well. Yeah, he was eating cooked food, like heavy food for lunch, but for the past 2 3 weeks, he's been having fruits even for lunch, for breakfast. The one thing that he does not want to not stop is dairy products, but I'm like, that's all right, slowly but surely.
moving into it, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
good.
So yeah, that's that. And then late in the evening, I might or might not have a cantaloupe. And then later in the night before going to sleep, like 2 3 hours before sleep, or 2 hours before sleep, really, I would just have oranges again. I just love it. This is how I do it. Of course, sometimes I'll have strawberries instead, but this is what it looks like. Or I will have figs. There's a lot of figs here, and then awesome pomegranate. So I'll have that. I keep switching, but yeah, that's essentially what it looks like. Mostly mono meals, mostly for the most part. It's just mono mealing 3 4 times a day in small quantities, and essentially that's what my diet looks like.
That is excellent. Like, and a lot of right now, people might be watching this and thinking, "Oh, I could never do that." And like initially, I thought the same thing because, like, it definitely is something different. But you do realize that your body will start to, like you said, you'll get as excited about those oranges. Like when you started talking about them, we've got these. I don't know if you have those there. They're clementines, is what they come on the bag label, but they're like the smaller little. I guess they're mandarins or something like that. But they are so good. Like literally, you can smell them through the whole house. So like that, and like you just start to get excited about the fruit meal like you would have never imagined. I love cantaloupes too. Now you made me want one, and I don't have any. But I love also the like we've done like mono meals. Like that's so cool because like I didn't realize how much better that can make you feel. Have you ever done like or do you believe in those? Like we've done like grapes, tried to do grapes for a certain number of time. Have you ever like just ate one fruit for a while?
No, I
I
haven't
think
done
it's
that yet.
important to handle what you're craving. Like your body probably knows what you want. Why force it to eat what it like one fruit? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I fully believe that, again, when you truly connect with your soul by ways of meditation and yoga, the amount of intuition that the opportunity of intuition, or I would phrase it this way. The your chances, you give yourself so many chances of intuition just flowing to you, right? All across you, and your intuition is pure wisdom, right? I essentially see it this way, like, um sh- we are the most informed generation of all time in the history of mankind. But all this information that we are gathering is from the outside, from Google, from our mobile devices, laptops, news, whatnot. These are all sources from the outside. And when you study that information long enough, you become knowledgeable, isn't it? This is knowledge, right? You become knowledgeable. But meditation and yogic cultures teach you that if you truly start to pay attention to you and look at the information that is already within you, throbbing within you, that is wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is all the information. What did Bob say? What did Dr. Joe say? This and that.
Right.
What did Mr. Google say? I think we should name Google as well. So, Mr. Google, what did Mr. Google say? Or Miss Google. So that is knowledge. We are becoming knowledgeable for sure. But we are forgetting the deep wisdom already within us. And so when you start to pay attention to that wisdom in you already, that intuition in you already, you will know. Or we don't even have to be here, Jen, to tell people what to eat, what not to eat. If you
Mm-hmm.
let that wisdom flow through you, you will know instantly, like that, that this is what you should eat and this is what you should not eat. Now, in order to implement, it might be difficult, but now you know the truth. It has come from you. So now it's very hard to ignore. You could
Yeah.
ignore what Mr. Joe said, but I really doubt if you could really ignore what you said to yourself.
What you know is what you truly, and I feel like in order for us to do that, though, we have to give ourselves a chance. And is that what you feel like meditation can do, and altering your diet to this way in a sense, or putting in more of that so that you can clear out all of it? Because I know for me, like you said, it's very hard to distinguish what my body wants and what my mind wants, especially when I've gone through periods where I'll go back to cooked food, like maybe on the holidays and things like that, and then it's like, wait, I know my body craves fruit. Like, what is that strong urge though to eat this bread, or whatever is in front of me, and this, like you said, this processed food. And it's like, because you have, once you know, you always return to that inner guidance. I just wanted to read a couple of the comments here really quick.
Hmm.
um Dawn said the soul is the true God. Very, yes. And Michelle said, I think if your dad could give up dairy for a week, he would not go back to dairy. That's true. And Muriel said,
Absolutely.
hello, welcome, Muriel. Yeah, it's like, but I love that you are the inspiration, that just from you doing what you do and not pushing someone else. I love your stance on that. You're like, you can do what you want. I'm here to tell you this is my journey, and this is how I see it. And then I think that inspires people even more than maybe your dad saw how great you were feeling and started incorporating more fruit, and then he may come around on his own time, like Michelle said, and end up giving it up. So it's
Yeah.
good that you're you know not necessarily like telling people this is what you need to do, but you are expressing it in such a way that it makes us want to get in touch with our soul.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And that's what's been happening with my dad. He is slowly but surely getting convinced, and he's conforming as well in front of me. He's like, I feel a lot better. I don't have the need to take naps, which is interesting. He just came and told me the other day, I didn't want to take nap the other day after eating fruits with you in for lunch, because usually he takes a nap after cooked meal with meat and all of that. Of course, his body wants to rest, and digestion is the primary focus of the body at that time, so that's why he feels the need to take the nap. But the other day he came to me and he was like, when I had fruit with you yesterday, I didn't want to take a nap.
Right. It's like you let him discover, like you just
Yeah,
told us a few moments ago, that if we can let our body tell us what it needs in that sense. So
yeah,
it almost told him, like, yeah. And the thing you just said too about digestion, when we're trying to digest food, that's taking up a lot of energy. So that's why we feel tired after heavy cooked food or meat, because our digestion's like, whoa, I can't, you're not going to be able to go out and like do anything right now. I need to chill out here, right? So that makes a lot of sense too, why we're tired after heavier food like that.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I fully believe that fruits don't heal us. Like,
Hmm.
there's a notion that is thrown out there that fruits will heal you, fruits will heal you. I think that your body is the healer.
Hmm.
Fruits allow you, allow your body, or give them enough space so that your body is able to heal itself. Right? That's what it is. Sure,
Right.
you could go to the intricacies. That's what it would mean end of the day, but that's what essentially it is. Because I don't want to label something outside of me as my solution. I just know that this piece of technology is so advanced. Both you and me can agree, Jen. Like, end of the day, all we are, like happiness, sadness, worry, anxiety, stress, this is all just a chemical that goes and hits your brain and makes you feel a certain way,
Hmm.
right? And then we act a certain way, we do certain way. Even the food that we eat becomes chemicals inside of our body when absorbed, and then it goes throughout our body and things happen accordingly, right? So it's all just chemical. This body is nothing but just one big chemical soup, right? And
Mhm.
so we can all agree that there is nothing in our existence that we know of that comes even close to this chemical soup, right? You could combine all the chemical factories on the planet and they can still not build something as beautiful as this body and this mind, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so yeah, essentially what I wanted to say is that we are perfect the way we come here. And so I don't want to label fruits as something
Mhm.
that will heal us. But essentially, what it does is that fruits don't take 30 or 40 or 50% of your energy into digestion, rather, they take 5 to 10%. So that now you have 90% of energy left in the tank towards mental, because mind takes a lot of energy as well, and then the rest towards healing, because self preservation is one of the most basic elements in nature as a natural law, right?
Mhm.
Anything that's living wants to preserve itself, wants to protect itself. And so the same goes with the body. If you have enough energy in the body, after all the things have been addressed, what does it want to do? It want to protect itself. And the way it protects itself is by healing the body.
That is amazing. Yes, that makes a lot of sense. And I think Don, that I've interviewed on here too, he has like a that same motto that, like, people that go online and be like, eat these 5 fruits to heal anything. Sometimes that can, like you said, technically it's your body healing, but not those specific fruits. However, those are helping to, like you said, preserve it. That's really interesting, because I think, also that's why we can't expect that, we're feeling this way and then in one meal you can eat oranges, and yes, you might feel a little better than you would by eating a cooked meal, but you really have to consistently put that stuff into you in order to let your body know, like, okay, this is what we're doing now, this is the energy that I'm giving you, so that it can heal itself. And I don't think that's something that's really put out there enough, that if you really treat your body like you said, like it should be treated, it will do amazing things for you,
Yeah.
both
It's a
mentally, spiritually, physically.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing, really, the human body. And but again, like I said, human body is just something that is a loan that we take from planet Earth. It's nothing but a piece of planet Earth. It
Hmm.
comes from the planet Earth, it goes back to the planet Earth, right? Now we choose to put our bodies in a coffin, you know, sure, we can do that, but where it should go is back to the planet Earth, right?
Hmm.
Because it's a piece of the planet, quite literally. So this itself is super intelligent, super beautiful, miraculous machine. But if you get to know the force of life, which is you, once you're aware of that, oh my God, that is a thousand times more stronger, and powerful and intelligent.
Hmm. That makes it so much more of not just saying, like, okay, here's the diet that we should eat. Hey, Don.
Welcome.
Mhm.
You are talking good stuff, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you
It
so much,
is
my friend.
amazing, especially you're right. The mind and the body are simply tools to be used. The
Yeah,
soul is really what controls everything. And the cool thing is that if we get our mind and bodies working on one accord, the soul is the one that benefits the most. And the soul is the glue that holds the mind and body together. And people don't think about that,
yeah, yeah,
but when you elevate the soul, it can help elevate the mind and the body. So good stuff,
absolutely.
man. Good stuff.
Thank you for your inspiration. I told you, you got us all philosophical now around here. We're going to be continuing this conversation, right? We're going to be like in deep thought. And I know that you have really been with us a while now, and I know you have other commitments. So I will start to, wrap it up. Although I could go on like this, we could speak to you for like,
Thank
what, a
you.
marathon, right? Like, oh, we're having Fahad on for the whole day, right? But I just wanted to really say thank you, and I love the fact that we didn't even get into like a lot of the lives I have are talking about nutrition and what to eat and this recipe and this, and like what we delved into today was so, I feel like, important because it's like that's what starts it all. I can give you a ton of different fruits to eat, um but this, when you find that strength internally and getting in touch with yourself, I think that's important. Is there any like kind of message that you want to relay it, just to like leave us with, or if you have more time you can let me know, but if you have to wrap up, let me know some final thoughts of, and then we're going to talk about, of course, how to find you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, we this is our first time, and I'm really appreciating speaking with you. Of course, we can have more conversations like this. It's getting a bit late, so maybe we'll wrap it up, because I'm definitely not a night owl for sure.
We're
But
forgetting it's like what, about 6, 7 o'clock over there now?
it's seven. Yeah,
Oh
like
my goodness, I'm
quarter.
so sorry.
No worries, 7:15. But what I wanted to say is that I'm glad you did not go into the nutrition side of things, because I'll be honest, I'm not a nutrition expert, not at all. I don't have a degree, or I don't have any sort of a qualification there. Backed by science, I would say that is mostly scientific nutrition. But again, like I truly believe that there is a lot of nutrition experts and nutrition information already out there. Yet there's not much that is impacting the people's average people's lives, right? So all that I share, there's a difference, because all I share is just experience of truly analyzing and understanding this body, because we all have this body, right? Lack of understanding or paying attention to this body leads one to find information out there. But like I told you, there's already information here if one were to pay attention. So science might call it theory. I would just call it experience.
That makes a lot of sense. And if you give yourself the opportunity to experience it, that's the only way you'll know. Like you said, without reading it somewhere, you have to experience it. That's a great analogy. And so I know about your YouTube, which I have linked in the comments here. You can find that as well as his entire bio, which I was going to read, but we were short for time. So I just kind of summarized it to say what my experience with watching you has been. And that's Raw Fruitarian Fahad. And you can click the link. And is there a website too, I think, or not yet?
No, not yet. I'm currently just looking. I'm not even working with anybody as of now. I'm really looking to just spread my message and my thoughts as much as possible out there to people. So no website as of now. But if anybody wants to reach out to me, find me, or anything, sure, YouTube is one platform where you could listen to all the things that I have to say. There is the links of Instagram. If you want to find me, it's again Raw Fruitarian, at Raw Fruitarian. That's where my Instagram is if you want to get in touch with me, and we can have some great conversations. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. And like I said, I love your YouTube. Whenever I see a new video pop up, and that's how I found you, because when I got on this fruit journey, of course, I just type in fruitarian. Sometimes I just want to like delve myself into like, just let me see. Like sometimes it's just good to hear other people with like minds, things that you're doing. It kind of keeps you inspired. And when I found you, I was like, wait, I don't think I've seen him. You
Right.
know, let me check him. And then I was like, oh, we've got to talk to him. When you wrote back, I was like, yay. So thank you for doing that and for coming on, and thank you for staying so late. Sorry to keep you, but I appreciate all the time and the knowledge and the wisdom you've given us time to, like, and we're all going to go explore ourselves now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Jen. I greatly appreciated this. You have a miraculous energy, my friend, and a great story too. So keep sharing what you do, and yeah, bring as many people as possible, because yeah, you're a great person to be around. Um,
Yeah.
for having me, and yeah, great cat, great friends, and thank you.
Thank
Just
you.
all thanks and love to you.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone who joined in the comments. Mona, welcome. I just saw that you popped in. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Thanks, Mona. We had Muriel, Michelle, Dawn. Thank you for your comments. And thank you, Fahad. And enjoy the rest of your evening. And thank you for sharing your amazing transformation with everyone.
Thank you.
Everyone enjoy. I'm going to go ahead and end it. Thank you.
Thank you.